Having studied to a master's level the issue of the ascension of Albania to the European Union, I had to look at the topic of fascism. So I came across a book while studying fascism written by a man called Stuart Hood, who claims himself to be an unrepentant socialist. On page 88 of this book, we have a very nice summary of what fascism is. And he goes through fascism in Italy, Germany, Spain, Japan, Portugal, the BUF, British formulations of fascism. And he comes across 14 different features that fascists have. So he says, fascist regimes in Italy, Germany, Spain, Japan were superficially varied, drawing on different histories and traditions, but they had some or all of the following in common. So I want to link these 14 separate points and ideas to what people term or a neologism called Islamofascism. So how many of these 14 could you say the Islamic Weltanschauung, the Islamic worldview, has? Number one, a political philosophy which was a compound of radical ideas and mysticism, of left-wing sounding slogans and conservative policies. So apart from the pagans in Mecca, to whom the idea of one God alone being radical, you can't really say it's a radical idea, the idea of one God. And mysticism, that's the Sufi aspect of Islam. Some authors, and I'm thinking specifically of the great author Shabir Akhtar, would describe Sufism as being a depoliticization of Islam. So number one doesn't match with Islam at all. Number two, a strong state with a powerful executive which did not require democratic consultation before acting, combined with a hatred of bourgeoisie democracy. So the strong state, not really, no. Muslims are left to, as long as they're pious and they don't contradict the state, apparently, it's not really a strong state, I'd say, although some would love that to be the case. A hatred of communism and socialism as political movements based on the idea of class differences and class antagonisms. Against the idea, fascism aimed to substitute a corporative state that denied a divergence of class interests between capital and labour. So, communism and socialism post date Islam. So, this and the idea of the corporative state, a modern phenomenon, again, not really falls in the Islamic category. For the formation of a mass party on parliamentary lines, which drew its recruits in part from the discontented and disenfranchised working class. Mass party, not really. Admiration of power and the deed which found expression in the cult of violence, training for war, and violence gave free rein to sadistic and pathological characteristics. Well, you can't really kill children, women, priests, people in their synagogues, churches, and temples, and there's certainly no sadism. You're not supposed to be cruel towards humans, animals, and the environment. Doesn't tick the box. Six, authoritarian programs which emphasized conformity, discipline, and submission. Society was militarized and directed by a messianic leader. Not really authoritarian, and conformity, discipline, and submission is recommended, but if you want to be personally a libertine, no one's really going to stop you. Seven, the cultivation of irrationality. The impulse was more important than logical thought. Irrationality led to a cult of death. Witness the Spanish fascist slogan, Arriba la muerte, long live death. So Islam promotes rationality, using the intellect, the aql, reading, writing, teaching others to read and write. So it's not really irrational. Nostalgia for a legendary past. So the Italians looked at the Roman Empire, Germans looked at the myths of the Nibelungen, and the initials SS were things that were used in runic letters used from Viking times, and Japan resurrected the medieval code of the samurai. So there is a nostalgia for the Salaf, the early three generations, but it's not. It is a nostalgia. I would say it is a nostalgia, but it's something that can be attained. It's not something that's lost. you can actually be like the Salaf in their practice and in the way that they conduct themselves. 9. Aversion to intellectuals whom fascism accused of undermining the old certainties and traditional values. So, no, it's not averse. Islam is not averse to intellectuals at all. It promotes intellectualism. Fascism claimed to honor the dignity of labor and the role of the peasantry as providers of the staples of life. With this went an idealized picture of rural life, the healthy countryside versus the decadent city. So the dignity of labor, again, this is a thing that's claimed by fascism, and the peasantry. Yeah, they don't really. This doesn't exist where you lionize a particular group of people. Machismo. Women are relegated to traditional female roles as housewives, servants, nurses, and breeders of racially pure warriors for the state war machine. Well, racial purity, piety, taqwa, is more important than any race or racial purity. Fascism was frequently subsidized by big industrialists and landowners. The state isn't really funded by industrialists and landowners. In fact, many Muslim countries today actually they don't want to promote Islamism or anything like that. Fascism's electoral support came overwhelmingly from the middle class, in particular the lower middle class, affected by economic crises. Again, a modern problem, not an Islamic concept. Fascism needed scapegoat enemies, the other on whom to focus society's aggressions and hates. The other, you could say, is the disbeliever, but they're not. You don't demonize them. Your aim is they're not enemies. They're not scapegoats. They are to be guided to a true path. And should they wish not to be Muslims, that works out too as well. So, according to the balance sheet of fascism and the 14 points, Islam is not really fascist at all.